Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm continuing with the crafting theme, and in this one I'm making some felt ornaments to decorate my tree. I'm going to show you the whole process from creating a pattern to sewing and finishing the ornaments. If you'd like to make some ornaments yourself, here are some of the supplies you'll need. I start by sketching out my design on my iPad. You can also draw it out on paper. I decided to make a set of 3 ornaments: a red barn house, a log cabin, and an English-style cottage. To get this onto felt, I first trace it onto tracing paper. I just do it directly from my iPad, using it as a very expensive light table. You can turn on guided access under the accessibility menu to lock the screen and prevent it from moving around as you trace. I trace out the base shape of each house, and then I move on to the smaller pieces that I'm planning to applique on top. Then I just cut out all the little pieces and voila, I have my pattern. If you don't want to deal with all these fiddly bits of paper, you can also just draw or cut directly from your felt. The results will probably be more rustic, but it'll still look nice. So now I'm ready to start cutting the felt. For larger pieces, I pin the pattern piece in place to prevent it from moving around as I cut, but for smaller pieces, I usually just hold it in place with my fingers. I've seen others use glue or wax paper to temporarily tack the pattern to the fabric, but this way is the easiest for me. Having really sharp scissors will also make this step a lot easier. Circular pieces like this little wreath can be a bit tricky. I find it easiest to cut a square and then just round off the corners. Here's what it looks like once I've cut out the pieces for all 3 houses. Now I'm ready to sew them together. For this project, I used 4 common embroidery stitches: the back stitch, the blanket stitch, the whip stitch, and the French knot. If you're new to embroidery, I'll leave some links to some videos that show you these stitches step by step. Starting with the barn door, I'm using the back stitch here to attach both the felt and add some line details. I want these details to be visible, so I'm using 2 strands of embroidery floss in a contrasting color. To attach the snowman, I'm using tiny little whip stitches. In this case, I don't want the stitches to show, so I use a single strand of embroidery floss in a matching color, and I try to just barely catch the edge of the felt with each stitch, so that the thread is nearly invisible. For the little wreath, I'm attaching it using French knots that look like little ornaments. It's a simple and really satisfying stitch once you get the technique down, and you end up with these little rosettes. I'm using 3 strands of floss in gold to get nice plump knots. Once I have all the embroidery done, I start sewing the front and back pieces together using a blanket stitch. The blanket stitch is great for joining 2 pieces of fabric because it gives you a nice finished edge. To attach a hanger, I just place a piece of cord in the center and then blanket stitch around it to hold it in place. For the stuffing, I leave a few inch gap at the seam and then open it up like a little pita pocket and use my fingers or a chopstick to pack in the stuffing just a little bit at a time, making sure to get it into all the little nooks and crannies. I really love how these turned out. I think my favorite of the bunch is the red barn house. The colors just really pop. I'd love to hear which of these 3 is your favorite, and if you're planning on trying this for yourself. Hope you have a wonderful holidays, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.